Alright, so the limited commercial edition of TNA Impact Wrestling for the day. Did it seem that the time that would have been dedicated to commercials was instead dedicated to long segments? But then I guess at the same time we did get a bunch of long matches, so it was a nice mix in between there. Anyway, let me run down this stuff as quick as I can. So we had Devon versus Samoa Joe, and this is the good thing about the Bound for Glory series tournament, is that these guys can tell stories with their wrestling. The story that Samoa Joe was telling was that he wanted those extra points by submission, but because instead of going for pinfalls, he would go at failed attempts at submissions, it ended up costing him the match. This is a good thing about the Bound for Glory series tournaments. We also had AJ Styles versus Gunner, so it looks like TNA still pushing for Gunner, which is kind of good, trying to make their own stars. We also had an X Division triple threat once again, and really, what do you expect at this point? You know these matches are going to be awesome every week, and this one was. I marked out for Akio and Caval coming out once again. It's great to see them in TNA, great to see them wrestle, great athletes, and great X Division match. One of the major highlights and one of the major reasons to watch TNA these days is because of those matches. On the storyline side, Sting is not even trying to hide the fact that he's being the Joker. He really isn't. This is typical TNA fashion. They don't even try to hide the fact that they're ripping something off. They just go ahead and do it, which is fine. It's hilarious either way. We also had Mexican America challenging the British invasion. Really, do we need a reason to turn anyone face or heel anymore? Nah, we could just come out any week. If you're off TV for a while and then you just come back, you can be face or heel whenever you want, really. So not going to complain about that, and this should be a good match. It could turn out to be a good rivalry too. Especially since it includes the greatest wrestler of all time, Rob Terry. Oh my god, finally. He's finally made his return. Thank God he's here to save TNA. We also had the contract signing for AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. I wanted to see the triple threat match. I mean, that's a classic, and doesn't look like they're going to do that. Hopefully next week they announce it, but doesn't look that way now. But that's fine. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels should be good. And the knockouts, divas really need to take note of the knockouts. I mean, we actually had a match with 6 divas that did not last 30 seconds. All of them got in good amount of moves. The match lasted a decent amount of time, and there was kind of some consistency with Madison Rayne. Because Madison Rayne, just because she's a bad guy and Angelina loves a bad guy, doesn't mean they have to like each other. Madison Rayne played the bad guy that even the bad guys hate. Although, what's the character Angelina's trying to play now? I don't know, that's just kind of confusing how she went from being completely normal to being a monster in the ring. Maybe she really is like Festus. But that was nice. I just don't like that they're kind of breaking up Winter and Angelina. I was kind of really liking this, but whatever. And even the hot redheaded chick is finally back where she belongs, in the front row with her friends once again. So great good old times once again. My only complaint about the show? Jeff Jarrett looks like he's about to come back. Come on, we're doing fine without him. Look how much time we're being able to squeeze for matches because we don't have to dedicate TV time to him. Why do we have to bring him back? And Karen Jarrett, I hate her on TV, but she seems like a real nice person on Twitter, so I kind of feel bad about hating her so much. Although, even though Kurt Angle's the #1 contender, he hasn't done anything with Mr. Kennedy. So overall, it looks like Impact did a lot of things right. It seemed like this episode was mostly about hyping up new rivalries and building for next week and for the pay-per-view and for their big show that they're going to have July 14th or whatever. So this show pretty much did what it needed to. It entertained, it had wrestling, it had new storylines building to it, and it hyped some good stuff. So once again, another good episode by Impact.